Hello YouTube! It has been quite a while, but as I already said, I do this channel as a hobby, so I don't really have time to make videos. But I'm back now, and after a lot of suggestions to do so, I will now try to cut out the stuttering in my videos, so we will see how that works out. The poll of last week ended with a tie between the speculation video for the Great War, well, the second Great War, and a video about the Elder Scrolls themselves. A video on the second Great War will take a lot more time, so I will do that later, probably in a week or two. In the meantime, I will try to upload more videos, but for the time being, let's do a video on the Elder Scrolls themselves. Well, that said, let's kick off. There is not much known about the Elder Scrolls themselves, where they came from, how many exist. The only thing hinting at their origins is the fact that they are sometimes called Adric prophecies. This suggests that they are created by the Aedra. But this is not confirmed in any of the games, so I don't really take that as an explanation. Well, something we do know is that the Elder Scrolls are not easily read. We see this in Skyrim, when Daxian Evicus, the Moth Priest, tries to read the Elder Scroll without any preparation. And this causes him to go blind. This happens to everyone who tries to read an Elder Scroll without any training or preparations. It even happens to the Dragonborn. However, if you try to read an Elder Scroll in Skyrim, you only go blind for a very short while. But for other people it can take several years, if not all of their life. The only ones we know of that are capable of reading the scrolls are the priests of the Order of the Ancestor Moth and the Dwemer. Both of them use, well, very complicated methods to read them. We see this best in the Skyrim main quest, where you use an ancient Dwemer machine to inscribe the information on an Elder Scroll on a Dwemer lexicon. Well, this means the Dwemer use advanced technology to read Elder Scrolls. But the Moth Priests, or Priests of the Ancestor Moth Order, use an ancient ritual to protect themselves from going blind. But this method can be highly inaccurate, and if done wrong can still bring blindness, or worse. And after some time it still creates blindness. If an untrained eye tries to read an Elder Scroll, they might even be mentally damaged. A good example of this happening is to someone called Septimus Sickness, a very wise scholar whose mind has been corrupted by the effects of an Elder Scroll. You actually meet him in Skyrim as part of the main quest. The contents of an Elder Scroll himself vary from scroll to scroll. When an untrained eye tries to read the Elder Scroll, all he or she will see is an unspecified drawings and letters. Only people with true insight will be able to truly read a scroll. This requires years of practice, and if someone does not have the aptitude for it, they will probably go blind before ever truly reading an Elder Scroll. This means that even the most experienced Moth Priests go blind after some time. A price they are willing to pay. Inside an Elder Scroll are reflections of all possible futures and all possible pasts. Each reader will see those future reflections differently, and so will see something different than someone else. But at the same time, all of those readings by all those people are true. Even the things that will never happen are still true if seen through an Elder Scroll. The past, however, is fixed. Once it has happened, no magic will be able to change the past as written in an Elder Scroll. If that sounds a little vague, well, it is. I will try to explain this as good as I can without making it even more vague. So, let's say person A reads an Elder Scroll. He sees Tamriel completely in ruins. Then, when person B reads the Elder Scroll, he sees Tamriel completely intact. Both those visions are possible futures, but neither of them becomes reality until someone truly destroys Tamriel. So, until that moment, all those futures are true. But even when it has happened and the reality is written on the Elder Scroll, all possible pasts will still be recorded somewhere in the scroll, because it was once a possibility, and therefore it is true, because someone has seen it in an Elder Scroll. I hope this makes it a little more understandable and not more vague, because simpler than that I can really not make it. The reason the Elder Scrolls output different futures is because whatever future happens, they will be a part of it. The scrolls themselves. They themselves exist in the fabric of time, so they predict all possible things, but only the things mortals choose to carry out become reality. This means the Elder Scrolls can contain visions of a Tamriel with cars, planes and guns. This is a possibility, therefore it's true. but it will not become reality before someone invents cars, planes and guns. Another example. An Elder Scroll may contain a vision of Skyrim overtaken by the Stormcloaks, and a vision of Skyrim remaining under the Imperial control. Both of them are possibilities, but only one of them will become reality. Both of them can be foretold because both of them can happen depending on the player's choices. Well, that was basically how an Elder Scroll works. I would like to conclude this video with some other facts about the Elder Scrolls I did not find the place to fit in. I said in the beginning of this video that we do not know how many Elder Scrolls there are, and I want to make clear what I meant by that. The reason we do not know how many Elder Scrolls exist is not because we haven't found them all yet, or because there's too many. It is because it is something mortals just cannot know. It's not a number. The scrolls are not countable, since the number of scrolls always seems to change, but still does not seem to be growing or shrinking. This is all very vague, and I think it's, well, left vague on purpose by Bethesda. The reading of Elder Scrolls is, as stated earlier, very hard, but also not possible to write down. A moth priest in one of the games states that the information in the scrolls comes to our minds and is written upon our souls. We all try to write down what we were thinking when we were reading at some point, but everyone just came to the conclusion that whatever you wrote down while reading were just unspecified lines and gibberish. So, what does this mean? This means that the Elder Scrolls can, well, not really be read, but more just understood by the trained mind. That concludes this video. I had a very hard time making this video, since the information on the Elder Scrolls themselves is purposely kept vague in the games, and this is truly the best I can do. I'm sorry. I hope you have enjoyed the video anyway, and if you did, consider leaving a like and subscribing, since it helps the channel out a great deal. And while you're at it, I made a statement group called the Elder Scrolls Scholars Guild. Or Guild, I don't know how to pronounce it, I'm sorry. I'm not English. The link in it is in the outro and in the description, so everyone can join. In the Steam group I've made a forum dedicated to solving Elder Scrolls mysteries and giving me inspiration for new videos, so consider joining. For those who don't have Steam, there is of course the comments, which I almost all read when I have the time. So if you have a question or idea for a video, you can always post them there. And finally, I want to thank you all for supporting me and my channel. The channel has truly grown since I started a few months ago, so thank you all. That said, see you later.